Larissa with BeCozi.com is here. BeCozi.com is American website. We're promoting our chunky yarns with all these videos that we're making every week. Subscribe to our channel to receive a new video every week, and check out BeCozi.com because we have the biggest collection of chunky yarns in the United States. This is our chunky chenille yarn, BeCozi Chunky Chenille, and this is 3 colors I'm using today. This is cinnamon rusty, mustard gold, and this is oatmeal. And these beautiful colors will help me to make this gorgeous blanket. I call it fall blanket, guys, okay? So we will need 2 skeins, actually 4 skeins of cinnamon, 2 on the top, 2 on the bottom. We will need 2 skeins of mustard and 1 skein of oatmeal. And then you will have this gorgeous blanket, and we will be making it in a very simple pattern, double ribbon stitch. So again, head out to BeCozi.com, find all these yarns and 47 more different colors of solid color. We have 24 colors of variegated, and we also have jumbo chenille yarn, which is thicker and fluffier than chunky. So if you want to make this blanket with me today, get some yarn from BeCozi.com. Let's get started. Okay, guys, let's get started. So we will be using these 3 beautiful fall colors, BeCozi colors. You can find them at BeCozi.net. This is our cinnamon color, or it also says here rusty. This is our mustard color, and it says gold, so we call it both mustard and gold. And this one's cinnamon and rusty. And this one is our beautiful oatmeal. So the 3 color combination gives us that gorgeous blanket. So we will be starting with cinnamon color. And for cinnamon color, we will open our skein and find the end. Usually the end is hiding on one of the sides. And here we are. Here's the end. So as with any blankets, we will be starting with placing the yarn in front of us like that. This is the tail, this is working yarn, and we will make a knot on the end that will prevent blanket from unraveling when you use it, and mostly when you are washing it. So here we are. We'll keep about 5-6 inches tail, maybe even a little bit less. And then working yarn goes on the top. We're making our first loop. Insert your hand inside this loop, grab working yarn, and then grab these 2, working yarn and tail together, and pull the stitch up. So we just made our first stitch. And now we will be casting on the chain with 24 stitches. 24 stitches will give us the width of the blanket of 40 inches for medium tightness. If you're knitting tighter or looser, it will be plus or minus 1-2 stitches. So the first stitch can be done, can be made smaller or bigger if you're pulling the working yarn. And we will keep it about 1 inch, maybe a little bit more than 1 inch. Now insert your hand, grab working yarn, and pull it through this stitch. So we now have 2 stitches. And try to make all stitches about the same size, about 1 inch, 1.5 inches for the bottom. And then hold the bottom of the stitch and insert your right hand, grab working yarn, and pull it out. See, we just made 3rd stitch, and then we will repeat the same technique. We will press the yarn, the bottom of the stitch, and insert our fingers in the hand, grab working yarn, and pull it out. See, we have 4 stitches, and now we will just keep casting on this way until we have 24 stitches. Okay, guys, so we have this chain, Let's count our stitches that we would have the right amount. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're counting by these openings. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 21, 22, and we need 2 more. So now we have 24 stitches. So what are we doing now? When we finished our cast on chain, we will flip it on another side like that. Place the yarn in front of you. The working yarn goes over here in the that direction where we will be knitting. We will be knitting now from the right to the left. So we are first knitting this first stitch. We're inserting our finger or hand from the bottom of it. Then we're grabbing working yarn and we're pulling it out. So this is our first stitch, guys. For the next stitches, we will be using the middle part of the stitch, not the top, not the bottom, the middle part over here. So you lift it a little bit, grab working yarn, pull it out. Lift the yarn, grab working yarn, pull it out. And now you will keep doing the same way through the whole cast on chain until you're done with all pulling out all 24 stitches. Again, guys, not the top, not the bottom, the middle part. And the reason we are using the middle part, because this way you will have this beautiful chain on the bottom. Only this way will give you this beautiful chain, otherwise it will look a little bit different on the bottom. So I will pull out all stitches. We're almost done here. And then starting from the next row, we will start our pattern. And it's possible to start pattern pulling out the first row, but that is not as easy because it's kind of not easy to see that bottom middle part of the stitch. So we will start from the second row, our pattern. The pattern is very easy, 2 knit, 2 purl. So we will be knitting 2 purl stitches. Insert your hand, grab working yarn and pull it out. Then we'll do the same with the next stitch. We'll insert our hand. Working yarn always goes in the direction where we're knitting, so now to the right. Then you're grabbing working yarn and pulling it out. So now we have 2 stitches, and now we will be purling next 2 stitches. When you're purling, unlike knitting stitches when working yarn is on the back, when you're purling, working yarn goes on the top of the stitch. So you're taking the stitch with your left hand or right hand if you're left-handed, and then you're pushing this working yarn through the stitch like that. Try to make it the same height. See what we did? That's the difference. This is knitted stitch, it looks like a chain. This is purl stitch, and there is a bump in the middle. So we will be purling next stitch too. So working yarn on the top, grab the stitch, and then push yarn through the stitch. Here we are. We just made our second purl stitch. So what are we doing now? We are simply moving the yarn on the back, and we are knitting next 2. Insert your hand, grab working yarn, pull it out. Insert your hand or fingers, grab working yarn, pull it out. Then next one, purling again. Working yarn goes on the top. Take a stitch and push yarn through. 2. So this is, guys, the whole pattern. 2 knit, 2 purl. It's very simple if you know or if you learn the purl stitch. And then you're just knitting the same stitches all the way to the end of the blanket. The knitted stitches will be knitted, the purl stitches will be purled. So what I will show you the next row. Here we are, 1 and 2. Here we are. So starting this row, I actually will be skipping knitting first stitch, and the reason I will be doing it because that move skipping first stitch in every row here or on the left side will give us the same beautiful chain on both sides, and would also will help the side of the blanket not to be curly, and it will also help you to save on yarn. You will use a little bit less yarn. So how are you doing it? It's very simple, guys. There's nothing hard here. So 2 stitches. First one is just sitting here, and we're going inside the second, grab working yarn and pulling it out. See, that's all. And then we just purl in 2, you see, because there are 2 bumps, you know that you need to purl these 2. The same way I'm holding the stitch with left hand, and I'm pushing yarn, only this time I'm pushing it with my right hand, like that. Now, here you see 2 stitches that were knitted. We are knitting these 2 stitches. The same way, guys, all the way to the end. 2 knit, 2 purl. So anyway, guys, see, we finished our, what is it, second row? Third row. So, and we knitted this last stitch, make sure you knitted it, and now when we're going to the next row, you're simply keeping it here, you're going inside the second stitch, grab working yarn, pull it out. That's all. So now I will keep knitting until I use the whole skein, and then I will come back and I will show you how to connect the next skein of the yarn. Okay, guys, I'm done with my 1 skein of rusty or cinnamon. I love this color. So let me show you how I connect the yarn. I simply making a knot and then make another one. And then you pull in the yarn in both directions until you feel that it's connected nicely. You cannot pull. And then you're cutting the tails close to the knot. And that's all. There are other ways to connect it. There's a way to connect it by making burning ends, but this one is the simplest way, and this one is the, I would say, most secure. And yeah, so here it's how it's connected, and now I will keep knitting the same pattern. You see, it's really obvious, the pattern now, 2 knitted, 2 purled. And when I'm done with the second skein, I will come back and I will show you how to connect our beautiful mustard. Okay, guys, so here we are. We just finished our second skein of cinnamon rusty color, and now we will be connecting our beautiful mustard. So let's take the label off and let's find the end. It's usually on the side. What we are doing here, we are connecting it with a simple knot, as I showed you, connecting 2 cinnamon colors, and we're making simple knot and then pulling the yarn in both directions a few times. It's the easiest way to connect this yarn, and then we're cutting this tail close to the knot. 1 and 2. That's all. So now let me show you what we are doing next. So next we will be knitting this, we will be connecting our mustard on the top of the cinnamon. So make sure that your first stitch will be with mustard, so connection would be over here. And then we will be knitting this first stitch, unlike all the others, because we are connecting new yarn, so the yarn should be seen in the first stitch. So insert your hand, grab working yarn and pull it out. And then we're doing the same with our second knitted stitch. So here we have 2 purl stitches, and if we purl these stitches, you will see that we see connection of the yarn. See, we have mustard and we have cinnamon. So avoid this. We will be simply knitting these 2 purl stitches. So through the whole row, when you're connecting new color, make sure that you are knitting purl stitches, because this way you will not see any connection of the yarn. And then in the next row, we will simply go back to our pattern, knit 2, purl 2. And this is the way to do it with any blanket. If you have purl stitches and you're adding new color, in the row when you're adding new color, just simply make knitting stitch, and then in the next row go back to the pattern where you need to purl it. Okay, so here we are, we're knitting this last stitch, and now starting from this stitch, because we already connected the yarn, we will be skipping the first one again, the same as here. See, we have this beautiful chain on the side. So just let it sit here, the first stitch, insert your hand, grab working yarn and pull it out. And here we knitted this too, but you see that those were purled before, so we are purling the stitches. Okay, here we are, we're back to our pattern, and you don't really even see this connection, but it looks really nice and clean on the front side of the blanket, and on the back side that will look like that. See, so that's what we're trying to avoid. And if you want, you can simply follow the pattern. It will be a kind of like a separation of the colors if you purl new color in, but I really like this way, because this way you don't see the connection on the front side of the blanket. And I showed you the blanket at the beginning, you saw how nice and clean it looks. So anyway, now we are simply knitting the same pattern, guys. We are knitting and we are purling 2 and knitting 2. Here we are. So I will keep knitting this way until I'm done with mustard color. And again, I'm skipping the first stitch, it's sitting here. I'm going into the first and then 2 purled and just knitting away. I will be back when it's time to connect the oatmeal color. Okay guys, so we are done with our mustard color. See how beautiful it looks. 2 knit, 2 purl. It's a beautiful pattern with these colors. So, and now we will be connecting our oatmeal color. Again, we will find the end and take the label off. And here we are again. We are simply connecting the yarn with a simple knot and pull it in both directions like that. And then cut the yarn, the tails close to the knot. Here we are. So now let's start the row the same way as I guys showed you with the connecting of the mustard. Okay, so we will be knitting all stitches, and we're knitting first one, we're not skipping it, we're knitting those that were knitting, and we're knitting those that were purled. And this way we will not see connection of the yarn on a finished blanket. Okay, so just simply knitting. Just make sure you are knitting all stitches in the first row when you are implementing a new color. And then when we're done, we will go back to our knit 2 purl 2 pattern. Here we are. And now again I am skipping our first stitch because I have this beautiful chain on the side, and I'm simply going to the second one, and then we're purling this too. See, now you do not really see the connection, and now knit 2 purl 2. So I will keep doing this way, guys, until I am done with oatmeal color. Then I will connect mustard I will use 1 skein of mustard. So we're using mustard, oatmeal mustard. And then we're using 2 rusty, the same as on the bottom. So remember, 2 cinnamon, 1 mustard, 1 oatmeal, 1 mustard, and 2 cinnamon again. So when I'm done, I will come back and I will show you how to finish this blanket. Okay, guys, look at that beauty. We are ready. And this is 2 skeins of cinnamon. Here's 1 skein of mustard, 1 skein of oatmeal, 1 skein of mustard, and 2 skeins of cinnamon on the bottom. So now a beautiful blanket is all done. It's size 40 by 60. And now we will keep enough yarn to finish it. And you will need 3 widths of the blanket. So 1, 2, 3. If you have more, it's even better, like 3.5. I have 4, and that's like 3.5 actually. Okay, so now the yarn goes on the back as usual in the direction where we're knitting. We're doing it to the right. See all those stitches here? So what we are doing, I usually started doing 1 more stitch on the end. This actually make a really nice like corner. So instead of just connecting or starting casting off from these 2 stitches, I'm making 1 more stitch from the last stitch, and then this stitch is on your hand, and then you add in another stitch. You have 2 stitches here. Then grab working yarn and pull it through these 2 stitches. See, you have this nicely done, beautiful corner. That extra stitch is really helpful. So what we do now, we are keeping the stitch on the left hand, on the right one if you are doing it from the right, because in hand knitting you can do casting off from both sides. From left or from right, it will be exactly the same process, guys. 2 stitches together, yarn going through them, and you're making 1. So it's very simple. So if you finish knitting on the other side, don't worry, you can cast off from the right to the left and from the left to the right. You're simply taking 2 stitches together and knitting them together. Make sure not to skip any stitches, because see, this way you're checking if all stitches are done, because if you skip one, then you will need to unravel it and to redo the casting off. So I will keep casting off this way until I'm done with all stitches, and then I will come back. Okay, guys, we are back. We cast off almost all stitches. We have only 2 stitches left. We will cast off or knit these 2 stitches together, and then this tail goes inside the last stitch, and then you're pulling it, and that's it. The blanket is done. So now this tail, I made the knot on the end to prevent unraveling, mostly for when you're washing the blanket. And then you're going weaving it in, and I usually go underneath this chain, left and right, like that, back and forth, and then go back. Or you can just cut it if you want. It's up to you. Or you can do it this way. So then this little tail, just weave it in that it would be underneath one of the stitches, that you wouldn't see it like that. See? So we just finished that. Let's see. And then we'll do the same on the bottom of the blanket, weave in the end. And our gorgeous fall color blanket is ready. Isn't it beautiful? Again, you will need 4 skeins of cinnamon, 2 skeins of mustard and 1 skein of oatmeal for this beautiful blanket, and it will give you size 40 by 60, and we have 46 other colors to select from, guys. So go to BeCozi.com, select your favorite color, stay warm and be cozy. Hey guys, my hand knitting book is ready for you to purchase. It can be purchased at BeCozi.com and on Amazon, and also available as a Kindle. It's a perfect gift for yourself or your loved one. It's the most unique gift and book on the knitting market.